Welcome, everyone. My name is Eric Beal, and today is our Saturday community call for a brief chance to just gather together and share our excitement and the results that we're getting with this amazing and incredible gift that we've all been given. So this week, we're going to spend 20 or 25 minutes here, and we have a really, I'm so, I say this almost every week, but I feel so um, privileged to be on this journey with all of you. And so many of you that are out doing this, you just inspire us with what you're doing to share this gift with others. And so this Saturday, we have, well, she's become a friend of mine now, but a friend of ours that we met through sharing this. They're out of Michigan. It's Kim and John Fleming. And, we talk periodically. And this last week, Kim started sharing. I wasn't really up to date or up to speed on what had happened. She's been using the patches several months, and she started sharing with me what has transpired and what's happened. And we always put the disclaimer, this is the recorded part, that this technology doesn't diagnose, treat, cure, heal, mitigate, prevent anything. This is a breakthrough for all of us, for all our loved ones and friends and family, that is really epic. It's something that's it's not going to change the world. This is in the process of changing reality for people in real time on this planet, for those that are suffering and looking for answers in their health and their physical body. So I'm going to unmute Kim. If you want to unmute yourself, there, like I said, they're out of Michigan. I love Kim and John. They are givers and helpers, and we met last year through this. Just we've never met in person, but we enjoy having conversations about life and the unknown and the divine. And so it's been awesome to get to know them. But Kim, go ahead and start out. How did you hear about this? What was your experience when you were first got the information, and who shared it with you, and how did that all come about?
So John and I lived on ministry property that at one point was run by Ellie Round. And she's out at Kansas City, and she knew John had suffered with quite a bit of pain, back pain. He had a back injury in '07 and retired, so he hasn't worked since then and just struggled with that. And so when she got into LifeWave, she got excited and contacted us and sent Rick Rupp out to the property, and he stayed there for a while. And we met with him. And, honestly, we were looking at it for John's pain, but I thought, well, I was in pain. I'd had a hip issue that had been ongoing. And I just hadn't found answers. I do want to mention the chiropractor we had in Traverse City was amazing. He introduced me to frequency and wavelength and some healing with neuropathy. And I went through a program with him and got some advancement, got some of my feeling back in my feet, but it kind of reached an end point, right? But he was amazing. And so if he's on here, hi, Chris. I don't know if he's on or not. But anyway, so after meeting with Rick, we went home to discuss it. And as we were walking out, there's a couple of steps down from the building they were staying in. And he saw I couldn't go down the steps. I had to hold on to John. They're just small steps, but I had to hold on to John to get down the steps. And he's like, wait a minute. And he goes back in, he gets a patch, puts it on the back of my neck. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Because you don't expect anything right away, right? And so we went back home, and I could feel something happening right away. And I was like, okay, this is weird. But anyways, within a few days, both John and I had incredible relief from pain. I was in so much pain that I wasn't walking much. I was afraid to go anywhere. I had a hip that was dropping out. I had been in the chiropractic care, which he did the best he could for me. It was amazing. I did physical therapy for, I think, 4 months, and I would come home in tears because my hip was in so much pain. And so forget walking, forget going shopping. I could use a cart at the grocery store for a period of time, but not much. And so I was really limited. And I'm an outdoor person. I'm a hiker, I'm a birder, amateur photographer. And so this was really limiting me. And so anyways, right away, I noticed, as a matter of fact, that night I met Rick at the House of Prayer in Traverse City. And he's like, you're standing up taller. And I was moving better. And just over time, it's gotten to the point where, like, for me to walk to the mailbox now is no big deal. And I'm probably going to cry now because last weekend I did my first hike, and it was to a waterfall. So it was uphill, it was snow and ice. I had my little walking poles, but I would have never attempted that even in August. So we've been on the patches for 5 months, and for me, that was a victory. That was goal number one. And so my goal is to continue to be able to hike in areas where I live. There's waterfalls and that type of thing. So it's perfect for that. So for me, that was a huge breakthrough and brought me to tears. And and then it was a few days later, I woke up and I noticed that I had neuropathy in my fingers and it was gone. And I was like, just one morning, I woke up and noticed it. And I'm a seamstress. So fabric is important, the feel of things. And I'm also an artist. And so you want to feel those things. And I didn't expect that. I wasn't looking for it. But the fact that the pain was gone, the neuropathy in my fingers, the neuropathy in my feet is better. I couldn't give you a percentage, but it's better. I don't know how to explain it. My walking, it's like my feet are more lined up. My hip has come more into place, not dropping out like it used to. I am doing some exercises, but still not functioning, functioning at a much higher level, but still not where I want to be. So that has been a significant improvement for me. I wrote down a couple of things. My skin, I dealt with really dry skin to the point where I would get like little flakes, scaly flakes that would peel off after a shower or whatever. And I was always moisturizing, always. And that's gone pretty much. It's like I don't even use lotion anymore. So my skin's gotten, I don't want to say tougher, it's gotten more pliable. Maybe thicker is a better word. I got diagnosed with melanoma. The scars that I've had from, this was a couple of years ago, I had one on my arm, on this part of my arm. When I bent my arm, I would get this little bump that would pop up because they take a hunk out when they take out melanoma. That's down to almost nothing. Like you can't hardly, you could tell where they took the skin out, but that little bump that used to pop up, not there anymore. I had, what else did I write down here? I had a sunburn on my thighs, went from a teenager, and my skin there was so rough. It was kind of like, I was trying to figure out how to explain it, like a miniature washboard. Sometimes like it was these ridges, little ridges, gone. That's all smooth. Ladies, for those of you my age group that get these little hairs, I'm not getting those thick hairs on my chin, like my hormones have come back into balance. I don't know, did I share that with you, Eric?
Yeah, no, I want to hear it all. That's incredible.
Yeah, I get little hairs still, but they're soft. They're not like the, that kind of jump out at you.
Wow.
I know, so it's funny. Age spots are going, the discoloration from neuropathy in my legs. I used to get red halfway up to my knee, and that's almost all gone. I don't see red very often. Sometimes if I go in a sauna, I'll see that rise up, but for the most part, that's gone. Age spots. The other couple of unique things that I felt, candida, once I started using glutathione, dealt with a lot of the candida issue. I still have a little bit of it, but if I break out in a rash and use a glutathione, it's gone like overnight. It's just ridiculous. What else? I got a list here. The other thing that is really significant for me and for anybody who's dealt with this is bladder leaks. I would not go out without some kind of protection. And I don't have that issue anymore. It's like sometimes I'm just be safe. We're going to wear protection just in case you cough, sneeze, or laugh, But I don't have that anymore. And let's see, we have not been sick. We haven't had a cold, flu, nothing. And our daughter was so sick that we're helping up here. Like she was at hospital phase. I threatened her I was gonna take her to the hospital if something didn't change. And she had gone to the doctor, but some kind of cold, congestion, nothing. We got nothing. Since we haven't been sick since last spring. What else? Well, I guess I mentioned the change. I was so fearful of falling when I was walking that I didn't go anywhere. And now I'm not afraid. I can go to my favorite stores. I can go out and do things I want to do. And I don't know, I think the only other thing I guess is that pain level. I was in so much pain when we first started this, and I think it was days. I was in so much pain when I would roll over in bed, like in my sleep, I'd wake myself up moaning. That's how much pain I was in. And like that 8 to 9 pain is down to 0. Occasionally, if I overdo it, I might have a little bit of, but it's a temporary thing. So pretty amazing results. And it seems like after 5 months, it just seemed like everything is just kind of starting to fall into place. So even though it was a gradual thing, it's like at now in the 6th month, it's like I'm really seeing and feeling those changes. Happier, we're happier. That was the first thing we noticed. Our mood change,
Yeah.
I was
I
cranky.
remember. I remember you talking about that early on. Yeah.
So I don't know, do you have any questions or?
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask what patches you used, how long it took. I know, and we'll get to those. If somebody wants to, sometimes I miss the questions in the chat, but we had conversations early on, and for people who want to share this with people they love, can you, in your mind, imagine if Rick Rupp, and Rick and Grace are amazing people. They dig wells all over the world for villages that can't afford it or don't have it. I mean, they just give and give and give. I get goosebumps thinking about them. And there's this whole circle of people around them who are they're just purpose-minded people, right? They're just mission-minded people. Can you imagine if Rick hadn't been willing to go over to his car and open his mouth and say this to you? Can you picture that reality?
Well, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing. I'd be cranky because I'd be in pain, So no, I can't imagine where it would be.
It's so amazing just watching this, what it's done for you guys. It's just when you last week and you said, you broke out in tears 3 times last week, just when you started to sew and you had your sewing back, you can feel your fingers and you went on that hike. We're in Vermont. We hike on that icy trails all the time, and we have beautiful, experiences out there. And I can't imagine that being taken away and then you have it come back.
No, and I'm outdoors is my life-giving source. So, God, obviously, but I do want to share one other thing. This is kind of personal, but everybody talks about it. The glutathione, when I used that for the first time, I actually got kind of dizzy and a little bit sick. So I took it off. I left it on for like 3 hours. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. And then the next day I wore it. I was able to wear it for a full day, but very personal. I had between the chiropractor and going to the doctor, I had x-rays done on my hips to see if I had arthritis or whatever. And both the doctor and the chiropractor told me that I had a buildup of waste product in my like the upper part, the transverse part of my colon, lower intestines, whatever. And I've been on nutrients for 3 years. I mean, I've been taking probiotics and all that stuff. So, and I know what it's like to deal with constipation. It's horrible. It's almost as bad as tooth pain. And the second day on glutathione, I said to my husband, I'm like, there's something happening. And I could feel the movement. And by the next day, when I wore it again, that was gone. And I verified that because I had gone to the doctor just previously, I want to say probably about 3 months. And she had said to me, you've got this buildup here. The chiropractor had seen it before that. So there's probably 6 months between the 2 appointments. And I had another doctor's appointment, and I asked her, I said, after I had that glutathione experience, I said, will you check and see if that's gone? And it was.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, holy smokes. I've been on probiotics for years.
Wow.
So, I don't know what the difference is, except that these things have really changed my life. So
we're so thankful for you being willing to share. A lot of people are sort of hesitant to share, but it allows others to hear the stories. Yeah. And it's a gift.
Well, I have a friend, we just signed up, Kathy, right? And she used to send out a letter at Christmas that said, how you pooping? So, I mean, if we can talk about it.
Lay it out there. Just real life. Yeah.
Real life. So anyways.
Wow. So I remember early on, we had the conversation about the different responder groups. And you and I spoke early on, once Rick kind of introduced you, and we did a Zoom call. And we had the conversation about what to expect, right?
Right.
You fall in all categories, right? You started to have a lot happen after 5 months. And we talked about the One Patch Wonder group. So for those of you that haven't heard this before, there's really, and what we're going to share here isn't company data. This is our anecdotal experience. This isn't hard published data. This is just what we have experienced after helping a large number of people. Group 1 is One Patch Wonders, which you fell into that category, right? You had a very quick experience with pain. And we call one patch wonders, anywhere from a few days to a few weeks. You use this patch, this technology, and something shifts dramatically. Sometimes even in one day it can happen. But that's a small group, relatively small. Maybe 20%, 25% will have something that they notice and feel right away. Group 2, and again, this might be 60, 70% of the people that the data says from the company that your stem cells are going to activate between month 3 and month 6. And this is a large group of people. When you consider the first group, maybe around 20%, then you got another 60, 70% that you're going to fully regenerate and reactivate not only your old stem cells, the dormant ones, which I'm turning 55 this year. Those of us that are 50, 60 years old, we've lost almost all of our stem cell production. They've gone dormant, right? So that's the 3-month to 6-month mark. So we really focus people in on not on the one patch wonder group. We say, look, don't even really start getting excited. Get your notepad ready. And we might have had this conversation, Kim. Get your notepad ready about month 5 or 6. We know you're going to be activated, and now you're going to have this laundry list potentially. And then the most important thing is this group 3. And a lot of people don't focus on this, but what we've found is this is a guiding people to the information process. And if you lay out the expectations properly, they have a chance to reach people they would otherwise never reach. Because I had someone tell me in Kansas City, oh, I tried that 2 years ago and I didn't have my quote, I'm quoting air quote here, I didn't have my miracle in 4 months. So it doesn't work. And I paused a long time and I said, are you open to information that may reveal how you were unknowingly, you were miseducated? You weren't given enough of the information. You were in a way, you were unknowingly, you were cheated out of this blessing. Are you open to finding out about that? Right? And so group 3 is this little 5 or 10% that I call the outlier group. And they take a lot longer, sometimes 10, 12 months or a year and a half. Did their stem cells activate? The science is not on trial. They activated, but they might take, like David Cow, those of you that have this link, he had massive glaucoma, and that it was so bad that he didn't know. He's a typical man, probably didn't go to the doctor till it was, far progressed, right? We're stubborn. That's the way we are across the board, not always. And the doctor says, David, you have glaucoma. And this is almost verbatim. He told us what the doctor said. Normal pressure is 8 to 10. You're at 22 to 23. Meaning at any moment, your optic nerve can pop, your eyes can explode, and you're blind. You're permanently. Terrifying, right? David trusted our friend, Peter No, friend of a friend of theirs, introduced him and said, just wear this patch 12 hours on, 12 off without fail. And he did that. And at the 18th month, he dropped down to 15. Right? So Kim, yours was 5 months, right? So you were in that middle group towards the end of the middle group, 3 to 6 months. Well, David can you imagine wearing that thing for 18 months with nothing you could notice changing? The faith it took? Now his hair might have been getting thicker and getting dark, but nothing with his eyes. And at the 24th month, and we have this recorded, and this is a private group. This is not meant for public consumption. Everybody here is already using the product, or they're sharing. This isn't to induce or entice anyone to do this. This is just David Cow's story. We've got it recorded privately. And at the 24th month, the doctor said, this is so far outside the norm. This does not happen. He normalized. His eyes went to 10 and 11 eye pressure. That doctor said, it's a good thing you listen. So I personally use that recording as the next thing for them to watch after they've been introduced, so that they know what to expect. And somebody today said, is it going to take me 6 months to experience this? We don't know. You might be in the quick group, you might be in the middle group, you might be in the late group. But a dear friend of mine, Stephen and Carolyn Jacobs, their friend said, well, I don't feel anything. And they're in their late 70s, and their friend said, well, I'm 3 months in, I don't quote feel anything. And Stephen, you have to know Stephen, looks at him and said, well, how long did it take you to get old? You can't say that to everybody, right? But have some fun with it. And we just feel so privileged and honored to be able to share this information with people. It's pure joy. It really is. And so we'll talk in the second half hour about ways to keep it comfortable. Because Kim, it could have been if a friend you hadn't talked to in 20 years just called you up randomly out of the blue and said, Kim, oh my gosh, blah, 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 and started talking. Would that be possibly a little bit weird if you didn't have any background? You can unmute, Kim.
Yes.
Right. And so, or if they'd have called up and maybe you caught up after 2 years, and then all of a sudden 30 minutes later, they say, Kim, I got something really exciting to show you, right? So there's little ways that you can keep this from being a weird conversation. right?
Right. Right.
And you
You
just,
just, I mean, people see the results. You know, if they're watching us, I just took pictures to show how much I feel like I look a lot younger than I
you
used to.
do. You do.
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah. Thank you, Eric.
Hey, we've been watching it. It's amazing. So your patches, you started off on the pain patch?
No, all I did was X39 and Eon at first. I probably did that for, I was scared after trying that glutathione one. I didn't want to be sick. I had a lot going on. So I used probably 2 months, and then maybe started using the glutathione. Elveda, I used Elveda,
Mhm.
and glutathione, Elveda, Aeon, and X39 were the four main ones that I used. And then every once in a while I'd try the carnosine. So now I'm doing carnosine. So I'm looking forward to what that will bring me. But those were, and I just started SP6. So we'll see how they do. But I did send you pictures. I don't know if I can upload them here of my husband and his hair color change.
Oh, I didn't.
Went from white to gray. Did I show that to you?
I didn't see those. I've
Oh,
got.
I'll have to send that to you. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's gone from white to like a darker gray. And it's just so funny. It's like started up on top, and the top of his head is like starting to fill in with hair, a little bit hair, like his hair's growing back. And then he just noticed the other day, he said to me, "Oh my gosh, my chest hair is going from white to like a gray, now, not that." I mean, we associate gray with white, but he was literally white.
Wow.
Okay. Now it's darkening up. So yeah, I'll send them to you.
He has his own laundry list here. He's gonna have
Yeah.
his own because he said improved energy, no pain, retired from back injury, no more pain from that. Mental clarity, skin, hair growing back, 8 to 10 level, energy, feels and looks 10 years younger. Best he's felt in years. Yeah, it's just incredible.
Can I tell you another quick story about
Yeah.
him? All right, I don't want to take up too much time, but when we got on these patches, it was 3 or 4 days before we made a major move from downstate to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And we're old. I mean, he's 70 and I'm 66, right? So we had all this stuff, all of our lifelong blog, 6 moves in 6 years. Okay, so this was move number 6. And he went to the storage unit, went and got a 20-foot trailer, went to the storage unit, and he had put on the Energizer patches. And so this is only like 3 days in. Now we're talking about Mr. Couch Potato, and he knows I would call him that, right? He just doesn't move much and in a lot of pain. The pain is so good, so removed. He puts on those energy packs. He packed up almost that entire trailer by himself.
Whoa.
And we're talking all the stuff that's been in storage, right?
Yeah.
So the next day we go back to finish it up. I'm still not walking. I'm not able to carry anything at all. My son, who's 40, meets us there. And he kept looking at John saying, "Dad, sit down. Dad, slow down." And he told our daughters, he's like, "Oh my gosh, Dad was running circles around us." And John had to come home and take those patches off because he did so much surgery. That he packed up that entire trailer almost by himself. And the same thing for the next few days as we packed up to move up here and unloaded.
Wow.
And didn't have that huge, letdown afterwards of, how you got to take a nap when your grandkids go home sometimes. That wasn't the situation. So that was pretty amazing.
Wow. If you don't mind sharing, how young are you and John?
I'm 66 and John is 70.
Wow.
Wait, is that right? I think so.
Perfect. Well,
67. Wait, I'm 67.
Yeah.
I promise the mental issues are just for the moment.
It's
Yeah.
just so exciting to watch you guys with this. It's so fun. And I know you're starting to reach out to people and share and yeah, it's just an incredible thing. Well, we're at our half-hour mark.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's open it up for questions. We've got a few minutes here. We'll go till a little after 3:30, maybe a few minutes, answer everybody's questions, and then we're gonna I like to just have a quick place where everybody can gather and share and interact with each other. When we end this portion of the call, we'll stop the recording and then we'll jump back on 3 minutes later and we'll get into more details. Those of you that have questions and want to ask questions about the patches or how to use them or what's this about glutathione, easing into that, just anything related to sharing this, any and all questions. We'll do a Q&A after this and make sure everybody gets their questions answered. But again, thank everyone for coming on. Does anyone have any questions they want to ask Kim and John before we end this part of it? Or any questions you want to ask me or any of the other people that they're sharing this? So just unmute yourself, or there's a little icon to raise your hand, and we'll cover those questions. I had a friend of mine lad Dilworth that was on several months ago, and he's had major progression the last 4 months. And I didn't know if he was going to hop on here, maybe share on the next part, so you could get a little preview of his testimony. But again, we appreciate and love all of you. This is going to spread all over the world very, very quickly. We're in 80 countries, and it's growing very rapidly because it works. So, Suzanne, did you have any questions? Or Anita? We invited a few guests that are sort of cousins to us in this. We're not directly related in terms of the tree, but we're super glad that you all are here, and we're glad to help and work together in any way we can. But yeah, don't be shy. Unmute, even if you just want to say hi. And
hello.
Yeah, who we have here?
Hello, I'm Clayton Adams.
Hey, Clayton.
I just signed up today under Kim.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing great. How did you guys meet?
We met on Facebook. I'm a photographer, and she liked my photos, and so I let her look at my Facebook page as a friend. So that was a while back, and I heard her share her story a couple of days ago, and I thought, that's something that I might need to look into a bit, because I've had some chronic pain for 8 years from a fall on my tailbone, and it's just creating a lot of different problems with my hips and muscles, tension and pain. And I had an exacerbation about a month ago, and really had some serious pain. I've never really taken painkillers over prescription stuff very much, and I ended up having to do that, and ended up in the emergency room. And boy, it was really a difficult thing. I had very little sleep for about almost 2 weeks. I had about an hour a night, and that was 20-minute sessions, maybe 3. So I'm on the downside of that inflammatory thing, but I think my sympathetic nervous system is very reactive still, and kind of in high alert mode. And I can't do any of the therapy that I normally do for the chronic pain I've had, because my body just reacts so strongly.
Sure.
So I'm using some non-steroidal anti-inflammatories for the most part right now. I've gotten off of the painkillers, and I'm not totally off of those. I'm trying to get off of those, but I'd really like to be using something else for the pain and inflammation. I have a fairly good diet and health regimen, and I do take some supplements and have some things I use, but this has been a real difficult spot for me. So I'm looking to have some kind of a additional support to kind of get me through this period of time and get into a better mode of health because of that. But I do have a question.
Yeah, I'm going to stop real quick here so we can have it 30 minutes. Give me 1 second, Clayton.
Okay.